welcome. As ever, let's begin just sitting up nice and tall on the chair. So coming to the edge of your chair so that you're using your back muscles to sit up rather than sort of leaning back against the back of the chair. And if you need to, just adjust the height so that you have got your feet flat on the floor and you can sit, in a relaxed way. And then let's just think about sitting up. Maybe you just check in, see how you're sitting today, check if your neck's doing anything funny, just checking where your shoulders are. And then just closing your eyes or looking away from the screen and just giving yourself a moment just to land here. And taking a break from everything you've done so far, whatever you've got to do for the rest of the day, and just let it be for now, and just allow yourself this time to do something that's certainly going to help your mind and your body prepare for everything else that's coming today. And just bring your attention to your breath and just notice it. We're not particularly trying to change it or anything at this point. Just see how it is today. Don't judge yourself for it if you think it's, too fast, too slow. There's no such thing. It just is what it is. And then we're going to start bringing in some movement. So because we're going to be focusing on the arms and the shoulders today, let's start by, on an inhale, bringing the shoulders up as far as you can, sort of up towards your ears. Don't do it so much that it gives you cramp. And then just as you exhale, just sigh it out and let your shoulders really drop. You can make it as dramatic as you like. So just continue that on your own breath, breathing in and then sighing it out. Just letting your shoulders relax. And we'll do one more, inhaling and then just sigh it out. Okay, and then opening your eyes again if you haven't done already. And we'll just start with some warm-ups for the shoulders and the neck. So we'll just do some shoulder circles first of all. Just rolling them, doesn't matter whether you're going forwards or back, whichever way you're going, then just flip it and take them the other way. You can do a bit of kind of walking if you want, one shoulder then the other one, just get them moving. And then just take your shoulders back and down and let your shoulder blades kind of come in together in your back. And then we'll do some little warm-ups for the neck now. So we'll just start by gently turning the head from side to side, just keeping your chin nice and level. You can bring in the breath to this if you want. If you were, you would be inhaling as you turn to the side and then exhaling as you come forwards. But if that doesn't work for you, just go for gently turning one way then the other. Not overstretching, just getting a bit of movement there. And then once you've kind of evened up on both sides, come back to center and we'll just take a little tilt over to the side. So literally you're just letting your ear kind of fall towards your shoulder. And that might be enough for you, but if you want to, you can bring your hand gently on your head. Just use that to give a little bit of extra stretch. Where you should be feeling the stretch is in the trapezius, which is this big muscle that's just at the side of the neck. So with or without the hand is fine. And we'll just come back to center and then over to the other side again. So just tipping the head, so the ears coming towards the shoulder. And then if you want to, adding the hand, but if that's too much, then that's absolutely fine. And when you are there, you're just letting gravity do the work. We're not really pushing into it. And then gently coming back to center. Okay, we're going to do a little sequence now. So what we're going to do, first of all, I'll talk you through it. And we're going to go through a little kind of sequence of stretches for the back and the shoulders and warming things up. So starting off, let's reach the hands up and overhead. Just a big sort of like, oh, stretch in the morning there. And then we're going to take that into a twist. So we're going to bring the right hand down to the left knee and the left hand round behind you. And we haven't warmed up too much yet, so don't overstretch into your twist. But just take a little twist there, thinking about bringing that left shoulder back and round there. And then keeping the right hand where it is, bring your body back round to the front, and then take that left hand, take it up and over your head for a bit of a side stretch. And by keeping the right hand on your knee, you just get that little bit of kind of balance that stops you going over too far with us being sitting on the chair. Helps to keep the weight balanced. Then bring that hand down to your left knee. So you've now got your hands crossed over in front of you. And then tuck your chin in and round through your back. So you're kind of rocking back on your sitting bones and really stretching through the back. If you think of when we've done a kind of cat-cow stretch, really stretching through the back and the upper shoulders there, tucking the head down, tucking your tummy in. And then on your next inhale, sort of break free from that, lift the arms up again, have a big stretch, and then take the hands behind you on your chair and just have a little tiny little back bend there. So we're mainly thinking about lifting up here, lifting up from the chest. If you want to, you can take your head back a little bit, but just look sort of up the wall in front of you. Don't take your head way back because that's a bit too much for the neck when we haven't warmed it up. Little back bend there, and then release, and we'll come back to center. So we'll just repeat that little sequence on the other side. So sitting up nice and tall to begin with, lifting the arms up and overhead, and this time bringing your left hand down to your right knee, your right hand behind for a little twist. That right hand can just go wherever it sort of lands naturally on your chair. And don't overdo it, because as I say, we're just warming up here. And then keeping your right hand on the knee, bringing your chest back to the front, and then taking that, sorry, I said right hand knee, left hand on your right knee, taking your right arm up and overhead for that side stretch there, but with a little bit of extra traction of the hand on the knee, which just helps to keep the weight balanced here. Okay. And then just drop that top hand down onto the opposite knee. And again, we're going to take that roll down through the spine, so tucking your head in, arching your back, letting you sort of rocking back on your sitting bones, rocking back on your pelvis. Just having a nice stretch through the back there. I particularly feel this in the upper back and the back of the neck, but your body might be slightly different. And then on your next inhale, lifting the arms up, stretching out and taking another big stretch there, and then taking the hands behind you onto your chair, wherever they kind of land, and lifting up through your chest to get just a little back bend there. Again, not overdoing it. Maybe looking up to the opposite wall. There. Okay, and then just release that. Come back to center. Maybe have a little bit of a shake out. We're actually going to come up to standing. So when you stand, you can have a little shake out there if you want to. And when we come up to standing, we'll just start by standing well in our mountain pose. So starting at the feet, Look down, make sure that your feet are about hip distance apart and feet facing forwards as best suits your body. And then think about drawing energy up through the feet, up through the legs, making sure your pelvis is sort of aligned over your hips. You're not doing anything, kind of going over to one side or the other. Engaging the core muscles a little bit just to help engage through the stomach, engage the torso here. Rolling the shoulders back and down, just letting your arms be loose at your sides, head nicely balanced on your neck. And then again, just maybe looking away from the screen and just taking that moment to feel what it feels like when you're standing up really nice and tall. And from here, we're going to take another little side bend. So we'll take the right hand up, take the left hand to the right wrist, and then imagine you're sort of pulling that right arm up and then maybe over a little bit, but don't overdo it. Up is more important than over. Make sure you keep an even weight in both feet, so you're not going too far. And then we'll just release that down, and then we'll repeat it on the other side. So this time, bring your left hand up. The right hand comes to grab that left wrist, and then stretching up first. Imagine pulling that arm almost out of the socket, and then over. But only going as far as feels good for you, trying to keep your weight as evenly balanced in your feet as you can. Try not to do anything funky with your neck as well. I'm really bad at looking down when I'm doing this. And then we'll inhale and just drop the arms down. And again, maybe have a little bit of a shake out there. So I've come to face my chair here. We're going to do a little downward facing dog on the chair and a little twist, which is particularly good for the upper back. So for the second bit, you'll want the seat of the chair towards you, but for this bit, you can choose whether you want the back of the chair, the seat of the chair, whether you want to use your desk, whatever, it's fine. But we're going to bring the hands down and then walk the hips, the feet back, and thinking about the stretch coming from it. It's as if somebody had a rope or something like that around your hips and they're pulling those backwards. So that's the bit that should be sort of feeling like it's coming furthest back. And this should feel like a really nice stretch through your shoulders and your back. And also you're probably feeling it into the backs of the legs as well. If you need to bend your legs a little bit here, then that's fine. Just go ahead and do that. Just do what works for you, what feels like a nice stretch. Your head's just kind of between your upper arms. You don't need to do anything particular with that. And then just remember to keep breathing as well. And then we'll just gently walk it back in again. And we're coming now to face the seat part of your chair. So come so that you're standing again, feet about hip distance apart, and as if you were on the ground, you would be kind of on hands and knees, is sort of the idea that we've got here, but using the chair to bring the ground up to us. So it's because of the way I'm facing, we'll do it this way first. So bring your left hand into the middle of the chair. So your left hand sort of right in front of you. And then we're going to stretch the right arm up and round for a twist. Now with this, don't worry if it feels like you look like you're really awkward. What matters here is getting a good stretch. Now, if you don't like it with your arm up, you might want to try bringing your arm either down to your hip and then thinking about working on opening out through the shoulder. That can feel quite nice. Or even putting your hand in the small of your back. the point is, it doesn't really matter what your arm's doing. What matters here is that we're trying to open out that right shoulder and get a twist in the upper back. So that's where the focus should be. So find something to do with your arm that feels good in your body. But the focus, as I say, is on the shoulder. So either arm up, on the hip, or on the small of the back. Any of those are fine. Okay. And then gently bringing it back down again. And then we'll repeat that on the other side. So this time you're putting the right hand in the middle of the chair. And we're going to take the right arm up. And again, you might take the arm round, you might bring the arm to your hip, you might bring your hand to the small of your back. Any of those is fine. But what you want to be getting is the feeling of your left shoulder kind of coming up and back, and a nice twist across your upper back in particular, your upper back and your shoulders in particular. So hand just goes wherever it works for you to get that feeling. Again, remember to breathe whilst you're there. And then on an exhale, just gently unraveling, coming back to the chair. And I think just to kind of straighten out, we're going to just go back into that downward dog again. So just hands on the seat of the chair and just walk your feet back and just have a little pull back there, which will just help you feel. Sometimes twists can make you feel like you're a little bit kind of out of alignment. So a little bit of a pull back there just helps to straighten everything out. Okay, and then walking back in, and we're going to come to sit down again. Okay, great. Hope everyone's feeling okay. So we're going to now do, some arm stretches. We're going to do a little bit of a neck stretch, first of all. This isn't actually a yoga thing, but it was taught to me by a physiotherapist when I was having some problems with my neck and my shoulders. It's a really good one if you spend a lot of time either kind of hunched over reading books or on your phone, or, you know, our tendency to kind of do this, hunch the shoulders, tuck the chin in. So it's a really great counteract for that. So we're going to start off sitting up nice and tall, hands just resting on the knees. And then we're going to think about, in fact, it might even help just to bring your right hand up and pop it on your chin. And we're going to think about just taking your head back slightly, as if you were giving yourself a double chin. Now, nobody is looking at you, so don't worry about what you look like. I'm the only one doing it on camera. So we're going to just bring the chin forwards and back. So as I say, sort of stretching the chin out, and then as if you're kind of giving yourself a double chin. And then jutting it out sort of forwards. So we're trying to keep the head nice and level here. We're literally just taking the chin forwards, taking the whole kind of head forwards and back. And I certainly really feel that when I do it on the kind of muscles up the side of my neck. So it's a strange place to get a little bit of a stretch there, but a great one if you need it to counteract too much of the head leaning forwards. Okay. I know that's a pretty weird one. Some people might not like it. So that'll be enough of that one for now, but you can come back to it later if it felt good. Okay, we'll do some more conventional kind of arm stretches now though. So start off, let's bring the arms right out to the side. So as if you were kind of a sort of T shape. My hands are facing forwards. And think about squeezing, almost if you had a pencil or something between your shoulder blades, and you're kind of squeezing your shoulder blades back, really stretching out. And then we're going to wrap the arms in on an exhale and give yourself a big hug. Now I've got my right hand on top. It doesn't matter which hand goes on top, so we're going to do both sides, but I'm remembering right hand on top, so it's going to help us with some of the other things, which one we do. So there, you might want to kind of creep your fingertips round a little bit, just giving yourself a big hug there. You can kind of stretch into the back a bit as well if it feels good. Okay. And then from there, as I say, I'm remembering that I've got the right hand on top. I'm going to take the right elbow up and over. And again, you might have done this as a kind of tricep stretch in like gym class or something like that. We're just stretching this arm up and over. We're going to do a bit of a stronger stretch on this in a minute. So we're just kind of warming it up. And then coming forwards. And then if you take your hands and flip your left hand so that the thumb's downwards, your right hand's got the thumb upwards, and your right hand's in front. And then bring them together and like catch the fingers into each other. So you've got the right thumb's up, the left thumb's down, and the right hand's away from you. And we're going to then take these hands up and over behind the head, and the right elbow is going to come up. So that's why we're stretching the right elbow up before, and the left arm down. Now lean your head back into your hands if you can. And then that's just going to again help to intensify that stretch. And you should be like really feeling this. So we're trying to make, as best you can, this right elbow is up towards the ground and the left elbow is kind of coming down towards the ground, but that will be slightly different for everybody. Again, try not to do anything too funky with your neck when you're doing this, but thinking more about what it feels like rather than what it looks like. Okay, then let's just bring that round and give it a bit of a shake out. And then we're going to repeat that little sequence on the other side. So big stretch out with the arms first of all, and then wrapping round with the left hand on top this time, giving yourself a big hug and stretching out through the upper back, rounding through that upper back a little bit there if you want, if it feels good. And then releasing that, and this time taking the left elbow up and back for a kind of tricep stretch. Doesn't matter too much where the right hand is. The right hand's there just to kind of encourage it up and over, just to warm up the muscles there before we go into the more intense stretch. And then let's come down. And we're going to do the funny thing with the hands again. So this time the left hand is in front, the right hand's behind, left thumb up, right thumb down, and then bring the hands together and hook the fingers into each other. And then this time we're going to take the left elbow up and the right elbow down, just taking it behind the head and leaning, sort of leaning your head back into your hands as well. That'll just help to help you to get into the stretch, and thinking about your left elbow pointing up to the sky and your right elbow down towards the ground. But what matters is how it feels, not how it looks. So don't worry too much if you feel that you're a bit wonky or if you don't look the way you think you should. None of us are yoga models, so it doesn't matter. What feels good is what matters. Okay, and then just gently unraveling that. Bring it down, and again, just shaking the arms out a little bit. And then we'll have just a couple of stretches for the arms and the hands. First of all, just to finish off, so interlace your hands and then stretch them away. So turn the palms away from you, really stretch out there. The fingers, and then let that go, and then hold your arms out in front, take your fingers down, so it's almost like you're in like a zombie movie. Take your hands down, and then we'll flip that, take the hands up, stretch them away from you, I find some of these stretches really intense on like my forearms and things, muscles that you just don't even think about. And then again, we'll just have a shake out. And with the focus this week being on our arms and our back and our shoulders and everything, I thought that we would just finish off with a little bit of hand massage, which we've done before, which again can feel a bit strange, but in the middle of the day, it's sometimes nicer than a full-on meditation, because then you're kind of ready to go afterwards rather than feeling a bit sleepy. So again, just look away from the screen and just look down at your own hands, and then just start to kind of rub around them in whatever way feels good for you. So maybe massaging between the knuckles, that sort of joint between the thumb and the first finger is often quite a tender spot in a lot of people. I think it's not unusual for that to feel a bit sore. Rubbing around the palms of the hands, maybe along the fingers. Just doing what feels nice. And then once you've had a good go around one hand, you can come to the other one. And again, just moving around. And as you're doing this, it's quite nice to sort of look at your hands and really think about everything that your hands do for you. Maybe that gratitude of having hands that work. Some people don't, or some people's hands don't work the way that they would like. My mum has really bad arthritis, and her hands certainly don't work the way that she would like them to. So we don't give them a lot of thought sometimes, our hands, but they're really important to us. So once you've had a good massage around the hands, maybe you come a little bit to the wrists, maybe kind of massaging, rotating around the wrists, maybe up the forearms, up towards the shoulders, just doing what feels good for you. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just taking a bit of time to find out where you might need a little bit of attention today. And then if you've done one arm, maybe coming on to the other arm, massaging around the wrists. And this act of just giving a bit of really focused attention to our own bodies is a really lovely gesture of appreciation and love towards ourselves. So just getting in there wherever you might need to. And then when you feel you've had a bit of a go around everywhere, then we'll just gently come again just to sitting up nice and tall. Just taking a moment just to notice maybe how your body feels now, if it feels different to when you started. And then taking one last nice deep breath in and out. And then you're ready to go back to enjoy the rest of your day.